passion actually started at Point Lowell. She was visiting with some friends from outside of the state, or actually relatives, and they went to Point Lowell, and there was a picture of a Chinese woman in the cabin, and Jerry didn't know who it was. It wasn't until that she came home and told her mother, there's a picture of a Chinese woman in Whalers Cove, and her mother said, "That's your great-grandmother."
The Monterey Bay Area may not be the first place that comes to mind when thinking about America's reckoning on race, but people who have deep ties here say that discrimination is embedded in its history and its culture. The recent cancellation of the Feast of Lanterns in Pacific Grove has brought this issue to the forefront. For decades, the festival included a pageant in which residents of this overwhelmingly white town dressed in Chinese-style costumes. In the old days, some participants even painted their faces yellow to appear to be more Asian. The pageant was clearly offensive, but many people took pride in the celebration. Randy Sabado's late wife, Jerry Lo Sabado, had spent the last years of her life trying to raise awareness about the contributions that Asians made to the Monterey Bay Area and talk more honestly about how discrimination and prejudice can go on so long, even in a progressive part of California.
Her name was Kwok Moy. They called her Spanish Mary. She could speak 5 languages. She landed in that area in her parents landed there in the 1850s, and she was born, the first documented Chinese woman born in the Monterey area. And it was from that point on that my wife Jerry was really intrigued with the story. She wanted to know how come no one told the story. She wanted to know a little bit more about her great-grandmother. She was on this mission, basically, to educate the community about the Chinese, and the early settlers and the various villages that were here in the Monterey area. It needs to change. I mean, my wife for the longest time has been pushing for this thing to be changed, and I still don't know what the resistance is. I mean, the artist obviously has his opinion, but I mean, when you just look at the scale of the Chinese that are here and the rest of the folks, it's like you can't even tell they're Chinese. You can't even tell they're people. It's almost like, we're just going to discount you yet again. And the other part of that story is the narrative here. For the longest time, it was written like, after the fire, the Chinese left. Well, they didn't leave. In fact, my wife's family, started their own fishing business in Monterey. But it kind of, again, discounts the contributions. It discounts their history. It basically says, they left. And she made them rewrite this thing to say, no, we're still here, and we're making contributions. We can't just, disregard us.
The Feast of Lanterns is no more. The city has apologized for the burning of the Chinese village, and this year, more people than ever turned out for the Walk of Remembrance, an event spearheaded by Lo Sabado to honor the Chinese contributions to the economy, culture, and mystique of this bay. But activists say that's only a start. It took more than 100 years to get to this point. Reconciliation and healing will take time.